ready to tell a folk tale. The Tortoise and the Hare. One bright sunny day, Tortoise was sunning himself on a rock by the pond. He was enjoying the hot rays on his face when he heard a rustling in the reeds behind him. It was Hare and Fox out on a stroll. Hare bounced along confidently. "Yeah, I'm just pretty sure I'm the fastest of all the animals ever. No big deal," Hare declared. Fox flattened his ears. "I mean, are you really sure? You haven't raced all the animals," he said. Hare replied, "True, but I have raced all my brothers and sisters, and I win every time. And one time I raced a frog too, and I won that really easy, so I think it's pretty clear." Fox wasn't convinced. "Okay, but that's still not all animals. I feel like you probably need to run a few more races before you can call yourself the fastest ever," he said to Hare. "Fine, you pick an animal, any animal, I'll race him, and I'll win," Hare replied. Tortoise stepped down from his sunny porch. "I'll race you, Hare. I couldn't help but hear you, and I'd like to challenge you to a race," he said. Hare was beside herself. "You?" Hare and Fox burst out laughing. "But tortoises are so slow," Hare proclaimed. Tortoise smiled a small, knowing smile. Tortoises live a very long time, you see, and this tortoise in particular was very old and wise. "I will race you, and I will win," said Tortoise. "Ha! You're on," said Hare. Tortoise and Hare agreed that they'd race twice around the pond, and that Fox would announce the official winner. A small crowd began to gather excitedly around the starting line. A few minutes before Fox blew his whistle to signal the start of the race, Tortoise took his place to get ready. He looked straight ahead at the path before him and could hardly hear the crowd chattering around him. Tortoise knew that if he just kept his eye on the prize and focused, that he would win for sure. Hare was bouncing around and gossiping with the spectators. "Yeah, I was just hanging with Fox, and then this old tortoise guy just challenges me to a race. Kinda weird, but who am I to back down from a challenge? So here I am. Don't worry, though. I got this in the bag." Hare was not very modest. A few moments before noon, she took her place next to Tortoise at the starting line. "Last chance to back out, Tortoise, just in case you want to avoid being super embarrassed when you lose." Tortoise didn't even look at Hare. He just kept his eyes straight ahead. "I'm not backing out," he said. Just then, Fox blew the whistle. The race was on. As soon as Hare heard the whistle, she was off like a shot. She ran and hopped and ran, and soon the roars of the crowd had faded into the distance behind her. She snuck a glance over her shoulder to see how close Tortoise was, and she could hardly see him at all. She was already almost halfway around the pond, and Tortoise was just a speck by the starting line. Hare laughed. "Ha! I knew it! I'm the fastest animal in the world!" And she kept running and hopping and running, closer and closer to her certain victory. Meanwhile, back at the starting line, Tortoise was not making quite as much headway. He plodded steadily along, but at a much slower pace than Hare. Some of the spectators were still cheering for him, but more had stopped and turned to one another with quizzical looks, wondering aloud why this tortoise had thought he could ever have beaten the speedy Hare in a foot race. But Tortoise didn't pay it any mind. His eyes were still staring straight ahead as he concentrated on making his way to the finish line. Before long, he started singing a song to himself. "Just one foot in front of the other, that's all I have to do. Just one step and then another, before long I'll be through. Keep on going at this pace, for slow and steady wins the race. Admittedly, it didn't really look like he'd actually win. Tortoise could barely see Hare in the distance. But Tortoise was confident. He just kept singing to himself and making his way towards the finish line, sure that he would come out on top. Hare felt amazing as she began her second lap. She passed through the crowd of animals waiting around the starting line, and they roared with enthusiasm. Hare beamed with excitement. She knew everyone thought she was going to win, including herself. I knew it! I'm the fastest animal ever, she said to herself. At this point, she was slightly out of breath. In fact, she was getting a little bit tired. Gosh, I need to rest, but I can't slow down now, she told herself. Just then, as she rounded the curve of the pond for the second time, she saw Tortoise. He was walking slowly and steadily. She smiled to herself. Even though she was exhausted and all her muscles hurt, she was winning. Passing on your left, Slowpoke, she said to Tortoise as she passed him. Sheesh, that wasn't very nice. She didn't have to rub it in that she was passing him. Her lungs burned as she laughed. She looked over her shoulder, hoping to see a look of defeat on Tortoise's face. But she was disappointed to see him still walking along, looking straight ahead and mumbling to himself. Good for you, Tortoise, not paying that boastful Hare any mind. Hare tore ahead. I'm the greatest! But soon, her chant changed. I'm so tired! Hare slowed to a stop, bent over, and put her paws on her knees. You know what? I've pretty much already won. It's okay if I take a break. I deserve this. I'm the fastest animal in the world, she huffed. She noticed a very cozy-looking patch of wildflowers on the side of the path. Phew! I'll just lay down and take a rest for a second, she thought. She snuggled into the soft flower patch, and soon she fell asleep. Tortoise had not slowed or tired in all his journey around the pond. He passed through the starting line as he began his second lap around, but the audience wasn't really paying attention. It was just as well. Tortoise wasn't really paying attention to them either. He just kept on singing his song. Just one foot in front of the other, that's all I have to do. Just one step and then another, before long I'll be through. Keep on going at this pace, for slow and steady wins the race. Tortoise walked and plodded and sang. He was almost finished with his second lap. He was getting a little tired, but he didn't slow his speed at all. The tortoise knew he'd be done soon. Though Tortoise kept his eyes straight ahead, concentrating on the task at hand, he caught a glimpse of a fluffy cottontail to the side. He tilted his head and saw Hare, curled up in a patch of wildflowers, snoring. Tortoise smiled, then turned his eyes back to the path and kept on his course, singing all the while. The animals at the finish line were confused as they watched the sun sink in the sky. They thought the race would have been over by now. Where are they? I thought Hare would be back by now, said someone in the crowd. Yeah, where's Hare? She started her second lap ages ago, said another. I think I see someone, Fox called out. I can't believe this. It was Tortoise. Tortoise was approaching the finish line, still walking at the pace he'd started with. A hush fell over the crowd as everyone watched with shocked expressions. In that moment of silence, everyone could hear Tortoise singing. He keep on going at this pace, slow and steady wins. The crowd gasped as Tortoise got closer and closer. Then they started to cheer. Woo! Go, Tortoise, go! Yeah! The excited commotion woke Hare. She looked around groggily and snapped to attention when she saw Tortoise nearing the finish line. Oh my gosh, I must have overslept, she exclaimed. Hare took off like a thunderbolt. She raced around the pond in no time and came around the final turn. Look, here comes Hare. It's going to be close, yelled Fox. It sure was. Tortoise was only a few feet from the finish line, but Hare came tearing down the track. She was 30 feet away and gaining fast. 20, 10, 5. At the last second, she dove and slid head first for the finish line and came to a stop a few inches short. Tortoise smiled as he slowly stepped across the finish line. He sang, I kept on going at this pace and slow and steady won the race. The crowd of spectators began cheering wildly and roared with enthusiasm. Tortoise is the winner, declared Fox. No, 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 whimpered Hare. Tortoise smiled to himself. He was proud, but not surprised. He'd known all along that if he just focused on his goal and worked towards it, that he could win. Hare's ego was a little bruised, but she had learned a lesson. Never again will I underestimate my opponent, and never again will I nap during a race.